Over the last few years, there has been a growing trend of an increasing number of churches who can't afford full-time ministry. What do you do when that happens? Well, there are a number of options, one of which is bi-vocational ministry. Here, somebody works part-time for the church and also part-time elsewhere. And so we are going to hear 3 stories of people who are working bi-vocationally in Baptist churches in South Wales Baptist Association.
I work for a company called Market Catalyst. We are a pseudo green energy company, if you like. We do LED lighting and far infrared heating, electric heating. We've also got a pet project of mine, which is a wind turbine, a vertical axis wind turbine. We make a lot of things on a 3D printer. We've got our own CAD software. We've got a lathe. Anything else we have to ship out to get made, but most things we can make in-house. For the turbine, we've also got our own heater project going on, so we're designing our own heater. I consider that my work is at least trying to help the environment. But you know, looking after this earth that God has given us, put us in charge of, is quite important to me. And so the things that I work with technology are all based around trying to save energy or to produce energy in the cheapest and most friendly way possible. I fell ill with mercury poisoning from a botched tooth filling, and I was ill for a number of years, and it got to the stage where I was drinking tea from a baby cup. I was sitting in the corner of the room and the days just sort of went past with my wife worrying and me really not having a care in the world because I didn't think about much. There were times when I was lucid, and during one of those times I said to God, if you heal me, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. So I was going to Penmine Baptist Church at the time. I was a deacon there, and I was called by the guy who was running this church up here to come and help, because he was trying to look after 3 churches and look after his wife and family as well. So he said to me, go away and think about it. But I'd already made this promise, so when he said to me, I said straight away, look, I know I've got to do it. If it's of God, I've got to do it. If you're going to be a person who works in a job as well as a pastor of the church, you need to be surrounded by a very understanding family. You need to be surrounded by very, very helpful people in the church that you're in. You cannot do this on your own. And so, although I'm very apprehensive, my skills are much more mechanical than they are people. But apparently, God equips those that He calls. And so I just rely on Him in both my secular work and in my work in church. And I find I'm equally blessed, actually, in both.
I was conducting a funeral a few weeks ago at the crematorium, and elderly people speak in stage whispers, don't they? And a gentleman came in, and it was a quiet part of the service, and he said to his wife, "Hey, is that Karen, the nurse from the surgery? I didn't know she did this sort of thing." I was always called to want to be a minister, and I applied, but I had to revoke my nursing and go full-time into college. So after 20 years I decided that I wouldn't let go of nursing, and then it was totally out of the blue. As the safeguarding deacon, I was looking at the website for updating our safeguarding policy, and out of the corner of my eye came in pathways. Are you interested? So I applied for some information, went down and spoke to the Reverend Susan Stevenson, and it took it from there. Started on the course with Jonathan Davis, and here I am today working in surgery and at Siloam as their pastor. So it's my dream job, really. I've got the best of both worlds. It was a huge challenge in the beginning because I was full-time here and had the role at Siloam as well. I had the dilemma, or I felt almost guilty, because I felt that I couldn't give my best to both roles. I prayed about it, and the answer came, semi-retirement, and I have the best of both worlds now, so I can divide my time, so I can be a nurse when I'm here, but I can also be the pastor, and if I'm needed to do other things. That was the most challenging, was where does my priority lie? Because my priority is the chapel, but also my patients here. So it was finding that middle ground for myself, really. That was the most challenging. I came in by a totally different route, but it certainly worked for me. And one thing I would say, anybody who has it in their heart to look to serve the Lord in a capacity as a pastor or a minister, but are working, don't let it hold them back. Because it's certainly challenging, but very rewarding.
It's understanding, for me, challenges that I find is trying to be the same as I am within church as a minister as I am in my job. And I don't know if you've been there where you feel you have to perform, you know, people say to you, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm with the Lord and I'm great. But you know, for me, the hardest thing for me has been in ministry sometimes is to say to people, no, I'm not all right. Because I get them struggles. We have this mindset that we've got to be something in the pulpit, we've got to be something to the congregation. But by being that something that we're not, or that we're trying to portray, it's just tiresome for ourselves. It's not being true to ourselves, because we can't keep up that facade, we can't keep up that mask. So my aim is to try and be as excited for the things of God in my house, with all the frustrations and all the family life going on, as I am in the church. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know if you're the same as me, but when I preach and teach, I feel alive. There's something about preaching and teaching the Word of God to a congregation that I am in my element, right? And it's something about it that just switches me on. But getting that spirituality right in the home as well as in church, the only way that you can do that is by being true to yourself. Because if you're not that at home as you are in the church, there's something not right. Are you performing when you're in church? And if you're performing, what's the point? Because it shouldn't be about that. And for me, one of the things that I've tried to do within church is be real from the front. Be honest, be open. Let people know where you're struggling. Because at the end of the day, just because we're pastors, we ain't perfect. So I still need you to pray for me. I still need you to support me. I still need you to encourage me. I probably still need you to say, John, can we have a chat about something? I'm a bit concerned for you, because as ministers, we ain't got it right. And we've got to get that balance right in our lives. And for me, it's probably going to take a lifetime to get there. But day by day, step by step, we'll get there and we'll do it.
Bivocational ministry can be a great way forward for a church. It requires people to be asking God the question, how does he want me to serve him? It requires churches to be looking at people and discerning leadership gifts and asking how they can be best released. Bivocational ministry can be a great way forward for a church and for a person in exploring how God is leading them. If you'd like to find out more about it or would like a conversation, please do contact us. We really do believe there is room for growth in bivocational ministry.